G'day party people, Chris here, and welcome to my very first feature showcase for Darkania, the character creator. I'll try to keep these videos reasonably short. Darkania is a fantasy survival RPG. It incorporates survival, base and town building and D&D style party mechanics for multiplayer adventuring. It's a fairly ambitious project I've taken on, basically just so I can make the game I always wanted to play. The driving principle is being realistic without being cumbersome, and I'll provide some content soon outlining my approach for the game in general. But for now, let's look into the character creator. The tools I've used for this game are Unity for the core game, Claude to teach me how to do everything I'm doing, Meshy for AI sort of graphics and model generation, texture application, Blender for any 3D modeling modifications, and then obviously within Unity, C# is the main programming language, which has been fun cracking the rust out of my knuckles to get into that. There's some very cool tools in Unity as well that I've got, like Gaia Pro VS for procedural world generation and customization. I've also got some great asset packs, including the one that the majority of these models are based on, which is from Magic Pig Studios. Yeah, it's there's a whole bunch, but I'll go into them more as they become more relevant. So, all right, here we are in the character creator. It's based in 3 panels. There's the general panel where you just have sort of your normal, sex, height, eyes, hair color, hairstyles, that sort of thing. Obviously, name your character in here, and then you have your detail. There's 148 detail options in here, so you can obviously get fairly creative with how the characters look. It's pretty ridiculous. They all do something. Testing this was fairly exhaustive, but yeah, there's a lot, and they're pretty fun to mess around with. They're all in the realms of real and human. Yeah, and that's another principle I tried to use here. For now, I'm focusing on humans, on creating humans. So I'm trying to keep them all relatively human, but down the track, we might get into other races, and I'm interested in people's feedback on that. But for now, I wanted to make it realistic. The 2 races, I'm considering adding a half elf and half orc. All right, so we'll create a fella, Darken, for this game. I've set the heights to be they default to the average human height, and they also have a range, which is the normal range of heights for both men and women, which is interesting. So if you're ever wondering what the average height for a man is, it's 5'8", and for a woman, it's 5'3". That's the average heights on the planet. Interesting factoid. All right, we're going to make an above average height guy. Let's make him 6'3". That's a great height. And let's give him some hair nice and quick. I think I've got 14 hairstyles or something like that, not too many, but enough to sort of your typical hairstyles. We'll go with a little top knot. We'll give him what sort of beard should we give him? That's a beard. Let's go with, we want to be able to see his body, so we'll just go with something like that. All right, and we'll give him a moustache as well. Probably need to think of some creative names for some of these moustaches, but for now this will do. Yeah, then you've just got your normal sort of hair color sliders. The top one selects the color of the hair overall. If you generally the shades, when they're blown out like this, it's you got to keep them fairly dark to make them kind of in the realms of realistic. And I've tried to keep them normal human hair colors. So if you're disappointed you can't have your hair pink or blue, let me know. I can incorporate them fairly easily. I was just going for realism to start with. All right, so let's set his hair color up. That's probably about right. We'll make his beard a little on the darker side, something like this. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that probably looks realistic. And then give him some dark eyebrows. Also got some all the normal human eye colours, some extra interesting ones, and then roaming into the cool and magical and demonic and creative. So if you must have violet eyes, you can. Yeah, and then obviously skin tones, I kept them for now just within the realms of human. So you can be pretty much any colour human that I think exists. I may add other colours, I may add races entirely down the track, and I may tie that into your default attributes, skills and perks, but that's for future conversations. Alright, so that's pretty much the generic panel, or the general panel up here. Then you also have the the sliders. I'll just show you one or two sets of these. Let's say let's go with just the arms and torso, for example. So if we want him to be hitting the gym, we can max out. You can see the musculature is actually pretty good. Give him some serious shoulders. You can skin him down, so you can have him muscly and skinny, or you can have them muscly and massive. For most of the areas, so you can make it as realistic or freakish as you kind of like, and it fleshes out the character pretty nicely, to be honest. You know, this might be a guy who skips leg day, so let's you know, make him a bit lean in the waist. We can give him a big caboose, or a little one. We'll give him a big caboose. Getting the pants to stretch, or the clothing to stretch with the models, that's a whole thing. That was fun. I don't recommend it for anyone, but it's doable. So let's say this is a guy who skips leg day. He really needs to focus on lower body. There's not enough squats going on. This will be fun. Butt width, wide butt, a narrow butt. There you go. So, you know, you can mess with quite a bit of stuff. It's pretty good fun to play around with, and yeah, that's basically it. That's basically the character creator. The other thing that's worth showing you, which is a lot of fun, is the randomizer. You got to see this. So I've made it so that it randomizes every aspect, and there's no limitations, so it can work within all of the all of the settings. So there's no real limits. As you can see, I've got elven ears, or you can stretch them to look like elven ears in there. That is one handsome fellow. Nose is a bit crooked. Obviously took a left hook at some point. Yeah, so the randomizer can be quite good fun. You can generate all sorts of things. So for a quick jump in and have a mess around game, the randomizer will be most enjoyable. So I thought I'd put that in there for a laugh, and it's paid off. They're not making them fat very much though. They're all buff. I wonder. I'm gonna have to double check that. I wonder if the fatness is in there. It doesn't look like it is, does it? All right. So yeah, that's whoa. Look at that nose. All right. All right. So that's the character creator, the layout, you know, and all of the features in that area. Thanks for watching. Next session I'll go through, you know, I've got a lot of stuff to go through. In-game features, the UI, time and weather is very cool. The map and mini-map have been fun to create. Posture, movement, swimming, crafting, attributes, skills and perks. So I'll create a little featurettes like this for each one. I hope you liked it. If you did, feel free to subscribe so you can see when I release new content. If you want anything specific, if you'd like to see anything specific, or you have ideas for something you want to see included, drop me a comment. I'd love to hear your input, and so would Darkania here. All right, well that's it for today. I'll see you next time, and keep on fighting the good fight.